Hello you guys, so 18 years old Ramesh Babu Praggnanadha from India is in Fide World Cup final, and this game was a key game which brought him there. Now with this win against world number 2 Fabiano Caruana, now he has guaranteed to be in 2024 Fide candidates. So let's just not waste time and straightly dive into this historic game. Praggnanadha has the white pieces and he opens the game with e4. We have e5 by Fabi, now knight f3 and knight to c6. And here Pragg chooses a brave decision, going bishop to c4. Now you may ask why it is a brave move. Isn't it the standard bishop to c4 to go for the Italian system here? The thing is, Fabiano Caruana is known as a master of the opening preparation, and he was playing Italian all the time in this World Cup. So he knows all the theory, opening and the best move from black and white here. So playing this against Fabiano is just brave. And here Fabi chooses knight to f6, attacking the e4 pawn here. And now there are many systems to consider here for white here. You can play knight to g5 to go for the fried liver attack here. You can play knight to c3 to have a 4-knight attack here. And you can even play d3 here to have a solid system here. And here Pragg goes for d3. Now Caruana played bishop to e7, and now we have castles and knight to c3 and d6. So very well known and standard move in this Italian system. And now a4, and a4 is a multi-purpose move. First, it doesn't allow to go knight to a5 to trade one of the bishop here, and secondly blacks want to play if the position allowed to go a6 and b5 here, but it stops both of them. And here Fabi pinned the white knight with bishop to g4, and now we have h3 and bishop goes to h5, so delaying the capture on f3 here. And now a suggestion for you guys, whenever you knighted on c3 in this position, don't go for g4 here. This is just a losing move because of knight takes, pawn takes and bishop takes. This knight is now pinned now, and now knight to d4 is just lurking in this position. If your knight was not on c3, you can play c3 here, and secondly your bishop is actually blocked by your pawn, so you can't play bishop to e2 here. And let's say if you try to play, let's say bishop to e3 here, you can just move the king and start pushing f5 here. And secondly, if you try to play, let's say knight to d5 here, just you're losing after knight to d4. Now Pragg goes for bishop to e3 to meet knight to d4 with the takes here. So this actually happens in the game. So knight to d4, bishop takes on d4 and e takes on d4, and then knight goes for d5 here. Now Fabi goes for the knight trade with knight takes d5, bishop takes d5 and now c6. So preventing to take this b7 pawn, and secondly opening the scope of a queen. So we have bishop to b3 here, and now Fabi plays a very good move. Bishop takes f3, as white has chains of the pawn in the light square here, so it makes sense to trade the knight for the bishop here. So queen takes f3 and now g6. A very good move by Fabi. First, it allows king to go to g7 here, so rook can shift to h file to attack on the king side. And secondly, as white doesn't have a dark square bishop here, so this diagonal doesn't affect him. So Pragg plays queen to g4, so allowing the pawn push to f4 here, and Fabi sticks with plan going king to g7, and now we have f4 and queen to c7, so connecting the rooks here. And here Pragg played rook to e1, and Fabi did the same, rook a2, e8 here, and here as f5 is lurking here, so queen to f3. And now we have queen to d7, so making the position better for the queen, and now rook to e2, and now bishop to d8, and now king to h1. So stepping away from any bishop trickery for the near future, and now we have d5, as d5 seems like you are actually blundering a pawn here, but not really, because of e takes d5 you have rook takes e2. And after queen takes e2, you can actually regain the pawn here. But here Fabi goes for rook to e8, so attacking the queen here. And here Praggnanadha goes for d takes c6, and now your queen is under attack. So b takes c6, and now queen to f2, so stepping away from the rook here. Now Fabi played queen to d6, so eyeing on this f4 pawn and later creating a battery here. And now we have g3, so stopping all the plans here. And now a very good rook lift by Fabiano Caruana, rook to e3. And now we have rook to e1, so threatening to win a pawn here. And here Fabi defends it by playing bishop to b6 here. And now he brings the king closer by king to g2, and now queen to f6. So whenever the position open, your b2 pawn will be hanging. So this is a clear idea of playing queen to f6. And now Pragg played bishop to c4, so making a room for b4 or b3 here. So whenever the position open, let's say you're now b3 pawn, b2 pawn will not be hanging here. So now a5, so stopping d4 here. And now queen to f1. And with king to f1, Pragg has actually set a trap here and Fabi falls for it after playing bishop to c5 here, and the trap starts with rook takes e3. The problem is, and now if you take with the pawn here, your queen will be attacked. So your b2 pawn will be hanging, but now you are actually losing a pawn here after t takes e3 because of c3. Now this pawn is shut, and after let's say d4, your bishop will no longer be defending this pawn and you can just attack it with king and the queen here. And then he plays an endgame like a Magnus Carlsen. First he brings queen closer to the pawn and now the king. And after queen to b7, he shut off this plan of taking the pawn by playing b3. And then shut the defender of the pawn by playing d4. And now c5, and not even taking it, just pushing it to d5. And after being up a pawn here, Pragg gives no chance to Fabi. No, not even the single chance to be in the game here. And he brings the king closer to the queen side here and grabbed all of the pawns here and later brought the queen. So let's see how he did it. So he brought the queen and later Black tried to give more checks here, but in the end all the checks were gone here and he played queen to f8 and king goes to g5, and after queen to g7 check, you are just getting checkmate. If you go here, this is a checkmate. If you try to go there, this is also a checkmate. So here Fabiano Caruana just resigned the game, and the brilliant victory for Pragg here. So if you like the video, like and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for the more updates.